Good morning, everybody, on this lovely spring day. I want to welcome all of our friends and neighbors here to the county board. I'd like to call the meeting of March 22nd, 2022 of the DuPage County Board to order. And may I ask Member Lynn LaPlante, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing as I invite Pastor Bruce Anderson from the Winfield Community United Methodist Church in Winfield to lead us in invocation. Pastor Anderson, thank you. Welcome.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, we give you thanks for the opportunity to gather together to do the business of DuPage County. Lord, you know the troubled times we live in. There are wars and rumors of wars. There is oppression and violence around your world. The strong seek to prey on and silence the weak. Even nature seems to be at war with us, as storms seem to get larger and more violent every year, and drought and flooding has spread to places that rarely used to see them. Lord, you called us as your stewards of your good creation, but we continue to use the resources around us at an unsustainable pace, seeking short-term gratification over long-term sustenance. Forgive us, we pray, for our short-sightedness and lead us in paths that will restore the earth. I pray your blessings and guidance on our elected officials here in DuPage County, the state of Illinois, the United States, and the world. Grant them your wisdom to govern wisely and equitably for all those under their care and to seek the greatest good for the greatest number of people possible. Be also with our first responders and medical personnel who have dedicated their lives to serving and protecting those around them. Give them your strength and sustain them for the difficult work of service that is before them each day in these trying times. I pray that you would be with all of us, your children, and meet us at our points of greatest need according to your abounding grace and mercy. Strengthen us and guide us as we seek to serve you and your people each day in uncertain times. Lord, I pray that you would guide us into your future, that we might bless all those we meet and recognize the opportunities you give us to be your servants. For in your word you tell us that those who want to become great must be servants, and whoever wants to be the greatest must be the servant of all. Lord, guide us to do your will and your work today and every day. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Mr. Deputy Clerk Adam Johnson, would you please call the roll?
Chaplain.
Here.
Chavez. Covert. Here. Desart. Here. DeCiani. Here. Eckhoff. Here. Garcia.
Here.
Hart. Here. Krajewski. LaPlante. Here. Ozog. Here. Pachalski. Here. Renahan. Here. Rutledge.
Here.
Schwarzy. Here. Selman. Here. Tornatore. Here. And Zay. Here.
We have a quorum. And on the order of Chairman's report, come on in, young men. Come on in and join me up here at the podium. There they are. Make sure we get everybody in here. We had to try to raise the ceiling earlier this morning to make sure we had enough room for some of you fellas. So we are so thrilled to welcome the Glenbard West High School basketball team here today, and I'd like to invite the District 4 representatives to join me up here. Member Lynn LaPlante, Mary Ozog, Grant Eckhoff, and we're just thrilled. What a fun, exciting time for us to honor you. The Chicago Sun-Times, they called it a magical basketball season, and today we are thrilled to welcome Coach Jason Opaka and players from Glenbard West to celebrate their historical 4A state class championship win in Champaign earlier this month. The Hilltoppers finished this year's basketball season with a 37-1 overall record. I don't like to even talk about that one. That was like the first game of the season. We were just kind of warming up. We weren't even really focused at that day. We're just, but in any event, it was just a remarkable season, and I just was thrilled to watch you whenever I had a chance, as did all of us here in the county board. The win over Whitney Young on March 12th was just really poetic, and this is a remarkable group of young men. I know the sacrifice it takes. I know the hard work, the dedication, what you go through at this level, and we're all very, very proud of you. You broke the winning streak of the Chicago Public League, which has held state championships since 2005. And I'm going to say, without question, this is the greatest Illinois basketball team of all time right here, ladies and gentlemen. So we got a proclamation. This is what we do in government. We do these kinds of things. We say a lot of whereases, and so I'm going to go down the list, and we're going to talk about our honor of you. Whereas the DuPage County Board celebrates notable achievements by groups who succeed because of hard work and dedication, and whereas no aspiring group can succeed without a solid foundation of teamwork, commitment, and talent. And whereas the players, coaching staff, and alumni of the Glenbard West High School basketball team have proven they possess a solid foundation of teamwork, commitment, and talent, building toward a championship season. Whereas the Hilltoppers won the Illinois High School Association Class 4A State Basketball Championship with a 56-34 win over Whitney Young on March 12th in Champaign. Whereas this is the first time in school history that Glenbard West has won a basketball championship and the first DuPage County school to win a basketball championship since 1909. And whereas Glenbard West finished the year, there you go, 37-1 record, ranked #1 team in the state, top in the nation, whereas we commend the student athletes, coaches, athletic administrators, and the entire high school community for their passion, spirit, camaraderie, character through this incredible season. The parents that are here, it's just remarkable. Everything that you've done something right with these young men. So now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Daniel J. Cronin, Chairman of the County Board, and members of the Board do hereby recognize and commend the Glenbard West High School basketball team and coaching staff for winning the IHSA Class 4 basketball state championship and for inspiring all of us here at the county and the county boardroom, the community, friends, family. You have made us so proud. I'll entertain a motion. Seconded. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Approve this 22nd day of March. Thank you. God bless you guys. Congratulations. Go Hilltoppers. There you go.
Well, that was awesome. My name's Jason Polka, head varsity basketball coach at Glenbard West High School. We would just like to thank the board, DuPage County Board, for the recognition. It means a lot to the boys in our school and our community. 5 years ago, this group came together and created a goal. That goal was to win a state championship and be the best basketball team in Glenbard West history. I think they accomplished that. They worked hard throughout the process, and they dedicated themselves to a program and a vision. They sacrificed a lot along the path, and they always stayed positive throughout the whole entire process, the ups, the downs, the adversity. They bought into a system that was bigger than themselves, and they finished this season with a 37-1 record, being a District 87 champ, a Jack Tosh champ, a West Suburban Silver champ, and then a state champ. It's been an amazing year with amazing accomplishments, but we think the best part about this whole entire experience is the influence this team has had on the community. It's awesome to see a group of Glen Ellen and Glendale Height players, kids, come together for a common goal, succeed, and inspire throughout. So again, we'd like to thank you, and I'll lead it to Coach Hoder. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Tim Hoder, coached at Glenbard West for a long time, and I just wanted to say, first of all, thank the board for this recognition. It's really nice for these kids to be able to come over here in the middle of the day and do this. If you've seen us play, the style of play you can be so proud of, but I can assure you the kids, who they are as people and the way they've represented our school and their families, you could be proud of that also. They're amazing kids, and that's why they've been successful. So I want to give a shout out to my good buddy J.R. McBride, who's a good friend of mine. Most of my board experience I've ever had was through him, and he's been a huge supporter of Glenbard West athletics, especially basketball. He served as Titans president for a while before he was a board member. All of these kids played through the Titans program, so he's been a big influence on me and on this program, and I wanted to give him a shout out. We do a lot of shout outs now. We shout out a lot of people, so I'm giving him a shout out. So thank you very much. Thanks again for this opportunity for the boys to come here. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Braden Huff, Glenbard West basketball player. Thank you guys, first off, for acknowledging us. It's truly an honor, but first off, I just want to say a few words about this team. It's truly the greatest team I've ever been a part of. Since day one, everyone's bought in, and not only on the court, but off the court. It's truly just a bunch of really good friends playing basketball together. And then, obviously, our accomplishments, winning state, first team in school history to do so is unbelievable, but also winning conference, which I think only three or four teams have done. So that was also an impressive feat, and even making it to state, we were the first team to do that. So to do that is unbelievable, and yeah, I just wanted to say thank you guys for having us, and I'm really proud of these guys.
Oh, sorry. I'm a four-time Glenbard West mom, but I'm especially proud today of this team. And what I'd really like to say is what we've heard throughout, that you guys have just been the best influence on the community, on the town, signing autographs, which is very fun, but also your example has just been wonderful. And I'm looking forward to seeing your state championship sign to join all the others on Crescent Avenue. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I want to point out, it's been so much fun for me and member Lynn LaPlante. We would come in and talk about the game, the victory over the weekend. We followed every game along the season. It was so much fun. This is a Glenbard West mom who knows and feels every challenge that you boys went through. And we talked about it early on. She says, we got to have them over here. We got to honor the Glenbard West basketball team. And so member Lynn LaPlante has been a marvelous influence for us here in the county board, a great representative of a community, and a zealous advocate for Glenbard West all through and through. So, Member LaPlante, please.
Thank you so much, Chairman Cronin. Thank you. I want to just give a shout out first to these parents. They're wonderful, and as what Coach Hoder said, because of the way they are is because of their parents. So way to go, parents. I know it's been a long road and a lot of challenges, and watching our kids play in masks during a pandemic, but look, we did it, right? Round of applause for your parents. So I would just like to say, watching this team play is like watching poetry in motion. These guys are artists, just different kind of artists, right? And their canvas is a basketball court. I'm proud of them. I've watched them. Some of them I've known since they were born. I love this team. I love these kiddos and the coaches. This couldn't be better. I also want to give a shout out, as we do, a lot of shout outs here, to the staff and Principal Monahan, Athletic Director Joe Kane. We really had a hard time during that pandemic. When no one could play, we were just grateful that they could at least get on the court and play. And it was limited to 2 spectators per player. And we were spaced out several feet apart in the balcony. And watching them, they still played the same way, just to an empty gym. But we all rooted for them, the community rooted for them, and to come through this pandemic, and again, I was also watching from the balcony this season, but that's because it was full to the rafters. It was standing room only. That's the kind of playing that this team deserved, that kind of support, and they got it. So this is the perfect team for the perfect time. It gave us all a shot of joy and adrenaline after making it through the pandemic. So thank you to the board for honoring them. Thank you, Chairman Cronin. And again, way to go. Way to go, Hilltoppers. One last thing. I would like to acknowledge last year's class of 2021. They were also one loss last year and co-conference champions, and I think they would have gone all the way last year too. So I want to give a shout out to those seniors from last year because they played alongside these guys, and as my son says, he thinks he gets a special award because he worked on the defense against Huff during practices. So and also Brennan Kornack, you're always going to be in our hearts and a member of this team, and we support you and your family. Thank you.
You're okay. Do you feel a need? Okay. Yes, you're right. There we are.
Never stand in between a public servant and the microphone. Well, congratulations to the team, to the parents. It's a great thing that you've accomplished. It's something you'll remember for the rest of your life and think about a lot. It's great that District 4, this is the second team we've got to honor in the last month or so. We have Wheaton North in here, so we're looking for great things next year too. So. All right,
well, thank you. Let's pose for a picture. One more picture. That was so much fun, wasn't that? Oh, it's the best part of the job is doing things like that. Okay, so take care. Thank you, parents. You guys are awesome. What a great season. Yeah, and you know, the thing that, Lynn, you added about 2021, they canceled the state playoffs, and that was such a bummer for a lot of kids, a lot of families. It breaks my heart that some folks felt that there was a need to do that, and a lot of people left the state and played for other teams in other states, and really unfortunate, but isn't this a great kind of final chapter in that whole experience? So fabulous story. Our next item on the chairman's report is the National Developmental Disabilities Month and World Autism Day proclamation. And I'd like to invite Sheriff Jim Mendrick up here to join me, along with my old pal Jim Orell, Judge Orell, Circuit Court Clerk Candace Adams from the Circuit Clerk's office to the podium. If you could join me here, please. And as they're making their way up here, I can introduce our presentation here. This month we mark Developmental Disabilities Month, noting that the Illinois Council on Developmental Disabilities estimates there are more than 14,000 people with developmental disabilities living in DuPage County. The leading developmental disability is autism, which impacts around 3,500 children. On April 2nd, we mark World Autism Day. And the rest of April is Autism Awareness and Acceptance Month. As we raise awareness and understanding on behalf of the families impacted, we wanted to highlight a project, an important project that we've developed here to educate and assist families impacted by developmental disorders in their children or loved ones. Many of those families will eventually find themselves in DuPage County Court, filing for guardianship of their family member. On average, 400 to 500 guardianship cases are filed in DuPage each year. Judge Orell presides over those cases in the Chancery Division. The Circuit Court Clerk, Candace Adams, and her staff help families file the necessary paperwork. I remember when this whole body of law was developed down in the legislature. I remember the advocates, and I remember working with them, and that was a consequential time. Sheriff Jim Mendrick and his staff served the court summons to the disabled family members. These three offices, in collaboration with our county board office, have created a brief video explaining the guardianship process and helping families understand how each procedure takes place, where to go, and what they need to do. In honor of Developmental Disabilities Month and the upcoming World Autism Day, this video will debut and will be available on the 18th Circuit Clerk's and Sheriff's web pages. So there'll be three different platforms where you can access this information. I want to thank all three of these offices for this outstanding collaboration. This is a wonderful example of how we like to do business here in DuPage County, working together on behalf of people that need us to work together and get things done. I want to also thank Jennifer and Ben Sin and other volunteers who agreed to be videotaped, to our editor, Amy Senior. And I'm going to read the proclamation and ask each person here to share some thoughts. We'll take a look at the video real quick, if I may. Here we go. So, whereas every March, the National Association of Councils on Developmental Disabilities and its partners collaborate to observe Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month. And whereas the campaign highlights the many ways in which people with and without disabilities come together to form strong, diverse communities, raising awareness about the inclusion of people with developmental disabilities in all aspects of community life. And whereas the Illinois Council on Developmental Disabilities estimates there are at least 198,883 individuals impacted by developmental disabilities in the state, and at least 14,739 in DuPage County. And whereas autism, a complex neurological disease, is the nation's #1 developmental disability, as approximately 3,500 children in DuPage County have been diagnosed with autism, in addition to 20,000 in Illinois. 3,500, that must be just recently, right? I mean, it's got to be the time frame. I'm sure I know it's a significant, and it impacts males for some reason or other more than females. Whereas the United Nations has sanctioned the 15th Annual World Autism Awareness Day on April 2nd, as advocates seek greater acceptance and highlight efforts to help families living with autism. And whereas in DuPage County each year between 70,700 and 111,600 students will enter adulthood and age out of school-based autism and disability services. And whereas each year DuPage County's 18th Judicial Circuit, the Circuit Clerk, the Sheriff's Office handle more than 1,400 court filings and assist more than 400 families and caregivers who file for guardianship to protect and nurture loved ones who are disabled. Whereas DuPage County officials continue to collaborate on ways to educate families, providing information and assistance to those who protect and care for their loved ones through the guardianship process, breaking down barriers, ensuring that persons with autism and developmental disabilities can receive the assistance they need to reach their full potential. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Daniel J. Cronin, Chairman of the Board, members of the Board, do hereby recognize March as Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month and April 2nd as World Autism Day. We do commend the 18th Circuit, the Circuit Court Clerk, and the Sheriff's Office for all the good things that they do working together to assist these families. I'll entertain a motion. So moved, seconded. All those in favor? Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. This is adopted, enacted this 22nd day of March. Clerk, why don't we hand it off to you first? I've got one for you. I've got one for the sheriff as well, and the judge. And so we just want to make sure that we, I think I mixed it up, but I think they're all the same. So here we go. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Please, Sheriff Mendrick, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, I just want to say thank you so very much. This is near and dear to my heart. It's an honor to be involved in this process. I'd like to especially thank Joan Olson. She put all this together, did a great job. I have an 18-year-old autistic son, so in the next 2 weeks we're going to be going through this guardianship program ourselves. So it seemed like a scary process. I wouldn't have even known about this process if we weren't the office that served the papers, though. So first, it's an awareness that there is a process called guardianship, and when your son or daughter turns 18, you want to make sure that their medical, all their care is going to be consistent in the way that you want it as a parent. So it's critically first important of awareness that this process exists. The other part is it seems complex at first. Even me, being the sheriff that serves these papers, the process seems overwhelming. But once you talk to somebody and they lay it out, and that's why we did this video, it just simplistically lays out a process that will help you accomplish this for your child. And, you know, not to be morbid, but even my wife and I were afraid to get like on an airplane together because we're like, oh, we don't want something to happen to us and leave my child alone. So having a guardianship process like this in place gives us that peace of mind that my son is going to be secure in his future, even if something happens to my wife and I. So it's very near and dear to my heart. It's very emotional. Again, I'm honored to be a part of this. And Joan, you are the greatest. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Just to echo that, thank you to Joan for really putting this together. There's many reasons why people come to the courthouse, and we often think that they come to the courthouse just for like to address their crimes that they committed or things like that. But it hosts a variety of things, including being able to file for guardianship of your children. And so we're happy to be a part of this project, and we hope it's one of many tutorials that come in the future with Joan and her team.
Chairman Cronin and County Board, good morning. My name is Jim Morrell, an honored guest. It is an honor to be here, and I also want to give kudos to Joan Olson and her wonderful crew. They were wonderful, and I believe, even though I'm in it, that the video is a wonderful product. Jim Mendrick and Circuit Clerk Adams did a wonderful job, and I want to commend them for being involved in this. The state of Illinois says at 18 you are an adult. And so, as Jim mentioned, now the parents have to seek guardianship. And this video will serve as a wonderful tool for them. It really demystifies the process, and it's clear and concise, and it shows how to do it. And I think it'll be wonderful for these parents, these wonderful parents, the wonderful part of our DuPage community, that have this. It's tough, as Jim said. They're worried about their children, as we all are as parents. So it's just such an outstanding tool. Joan, you did such a wonderful job, and your staff who are here today, they deserve all the kudos. I'm just honored to be part of it, and on behalf of the 18th Judicial Circuit, thank you, County Board. Thank you, Chairman Cronin, and thank you, Joan and staff. It was outstanding. Thank you.
So we have a other little recognition here. We'd like to point out, we understand congratulations are in order for Candace. So on behalf of the entire county board and our offices, we wanted to present this to you. Congratulations. Okay, just have a couple of remarks here. On Friday, March 11th, I was delighted to accept the Construction Industry Service Corporation's Pride in Construction Award for Public Body of the Year. Now, they weren't saying that I was the public body of the year. They said DuPage County was the public body of the year, so I want to make sure that's clear. But I accepted this award on behalf of DuPage County. Cisco is an organization that we've worked with, and there's some wonderful people there, as you all know. And so I was particularly gratified to meet in person and talk with a lot of the folks, old friends, and some friends I haven't, some new friends, and learn about how they've weathered the pandemic over the past 2 years. I also wanted to thank the Executive Director, Dan Allen, who also serves on our Choose DuPage board. He's a wonderful guy. And especially our old friend, Tom Kuklich, who now serves on the Board of Directors for Cisco. So on behalf of DuPage County, we're pleased and proud to be recognized for our fair and responsible bidding and procurement practices. Also last week at the quarterly Choose DuPage board meeting, Member LaPlante also attended and really raised the energy in the room that day. It was really wonderful. We received an update from the Illinois Toll Highway Authority's Chief Planning Officer, Rocco Zuccaro, and Deputy Planning Officer, Manar Nashif, and they discussed notable building progress on the Elgin O'Hare Western Access Project, including on the Illinois 390 I-490 interchange. This is part of a project that has really been in the works, and I've been involved in for the better part of 30-some years, and so it's really gratifying to see meaningful steps being accomplished, this construction, which will ultimately result in Western access to O'Hare, and that I believe is inevitable. York Road construction includes 2 miles of county highway. The county's a partner there. Green Street in Bensonville is being reconstructed. There's all sorts of things going on. I have a long list here of different projects. You're welcome to review that. But suffices to say, DuPage County has played a very pivotal role in advocating and working with other units of government to make that transportation corridor possible, which will lead to many jobs and economic development. So you can all be proud of the work that we're doing here together. So with that, we move on to the next order of business entitled Public Comment. We have one individual, Stephen Miller, here to talk about, we have more than one. First and foremost, we'll have Stephen Miller. I have to just point out, if I may, Mr. Miller, that and all folks seeking to offer some thoughts in public comment, we welcome the remarks. Members of the public shall be afforded time not to exceed 3 minutes in length, nor shall the total time exceed 30 minutes. Yes, it is. You tricked me. No, I'm kidding. I didn't see that. It's record of appearance. Steve Miller has filed a record of appearance only. He wanted to just make a record about the progress on the East Branch DuPage River Trail. So that's Steve Miller. Next we have Kathleen West, who is seeking to offer testimony here today. She's from Naperville, and item 10A, Kids World, is the subject matter. Please
That's
proceed.
Good. Thank you. My name is Kathleen West, and our law firm represents Kids World, that's doing business as Children's Creative Corner. Children's Creative Corner is before you today for the granting of a conditional use. And during the public hearing and the public testimony, Children's Creative Corner presented evidence which addresses and refutes concerns raised by its neighbors. The evidence demonstrated that, one, Children's Creative Corner will provide sufficient parking and will not create negative traffic patterns. And two, the improvement of this property will not adversely impact stormwater flow. No evidence was presented by the neighbors which substantiated their claims nor refuted the testimony of the applicant's consultants. The standards for the granting of a conditional use were met. This property has been used as a commercial property for many years. So Kids World requests that the County Board concur with the recommendation of the Development Committee and adopt the ordinance approving the conditional use with exceptions.
Tony, Z-O-T-A-J, about Kids World.
My name is Tony Zota, and my family owns Children's Creative Corner Child Care Center. We've been operating this center since 2011, and we're always looking for ways to improve our care for our children. That's why we're excited about this new facility, where we can offer more outdoor space, more green space, larger classroom with more natural light, a flower garden, a vegetable garden for the children to plant and grow, and a bigger and a better playground for them as well. After 11 years, we know very well the needs of our families, the needs of our children, how much parking we need, their arrival and departure time for parents and staff. And as a small family-owned business, we would not invest in this project if we thought that there's a chance our family's needs are not being met. In the past few months, we've been worked hard with our engineers to find the best solutions for everyone, for us and the neighborhood. We've had meetings with DUDOT, Stormwater, Fire Department, the township, and we followed their recommendations. These final site plans, traffic report, and other supporting documents were presented to different county departments and had no objections from any of them. Childcare centers serve the neighborhoods and are a part of them. Many families that we serve now and families that live close to the new location have expressed their excitement about our move and their support. Children will be the main beneficiary of this move, and we're always looking to serve better for them and do better for them. And by approving this project, you will help us to do that exactly. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Going back to the issue of the East Branch of DuPage River, I see we have Ginger Wheeler here seeking to offer testimony.
Good morning, everybody. So nice to see you, and congratulations again to Glenbard West basketball. Woo! I just want to point out that there's an agenda item on your agenda today about the East Branch DuPage River Trail. Thank you to the Transportation Department for putting that forward, and I urge you all to vote yes for that. I wanted to let you all know that we have our group, which is 501c4 organization, has formed an advisory board. So we have about 12 people on that board, which is really awesome. And we're planning an event on June 4th with Butterfield Park District. We invite everyone to come. It's going to be a community event with music, food trucks, and tours of the area down by Butterfield Park District where these trail alignments could be. So that's not determined yet exactly where the trail alignment would be around that area, but we can get in those places and walk through it or bike to those areas. We're going to have several tours. So soon we'll be starting to promote that and offering you the opportunity to sign up for a tour to actually see it in person. And I think once you get there and you see the space in person, you will be like, oh yeah, this is going to be a breeze. So thank you for all your support and for moving this project along. It's a win-win-win, checks a lot of good boxes. It's good for the environment, it's good for our mental and physical health, it's good for neighborhoods, it's good for communities, it's good for non-motorized transportation, safety, everything. So thank you very much and have a lovely rest of your day.
Thank you. Steve Johnson, also on the East Branch DuPage River Trail.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and all you county board members with whom I've spoken at one time or another about the trail. We appreciate your support. Today you do have a chance to appropriate monies for a phase 1 engineering study, which is wonderful progress. That's real engineering, not just preliminary and discussion. This will be great for the section that connects the Great Western Trail and the Prairie Path. Even if we just get this little part done, this is a huge connection, and I like to remind the board that it benefits the entire county because it is a connector. It ties together our wonderful trail network. It's a great bipartisan project, too, if we all want to feel good. So we appreciate in advance your passing this appropriation. As Ginger mentioned, our group is still looking at other sections of the trail that will eventually pull together this wonderful trail that will connect DuPage County from top to bottom and provide transportation for people who are not necessarily using automobiles, as well as recreation. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Last but not least, Evelyn Sanguinetti.
Thank you. Once again, my name is Evelyn Sanguinetti, and I reside at 2014 Stoddard Avenue, right here in Wheaton, Illinois. I am here today to address two issues that were raised in the Daily Herald article that was published on Monday concerning elections here in DuPage County. First, the clerk was quoted as saying that she will request additional funding at today's county board meeting to increase election judge pay from $130 to an excess of $200. The basis for this request is the clerk's belief that offering more money will incentivize more election judges to volunteer their time. While I am not against increasing election judge pay to conform to what we pay judges in neighboring jurisdictions, it leads me to question, what has the clerk done to reach out to the community groups and township political organizations? These places should be the perfect recruiting grounds for election judges, among many other places. To be clear, most voters do not become election judges for the pay. They do it because they are patriotic Americans carrying out their civic duty. Regardless of whether a person calls themselves a Democrat or a Republican, these feelings are felt across the board by all political persuasions. I ask, has the clerk offered to show up to township committee meetings to address the need for judges? I am sure Republicans would welcome her to address their meeting for the limited purpose of recruiting judges. We all wish to preserve this democracy. How about Rotary meetings, Lions clubs, churches, synagogues, temples, mosques? I'm a Rotarian, 7:30 a.m. Wheaton. Come on over. Has she tried to recruit there? The clerk's first reaction is, let's throw money at the problem. Instead of finding a sustainable solution through education, outreach, and advocacy throughout her last 4 years of service. Serving as an election judge isn't a replacement for employment. It's a chance to serve your friends, your families, your neighbors. It seems there is either a breakdown in communication between the clerk, her office, and the public, or a total lack of effort. Sadly, the latter cannot be ruled out when it is so hard for the clerk to even physically attend county board meetings. Second, I was appalled by the suggestion that citizens who question how the clerk runs elections could be subject to being investigated by the Department of Homeland Security as a security risk. Look it, my family fought long and hard to enter this country after fleeing oppressive governments. Labeling citizens that question government as a security risk is, simply put, worthy of Fidel Castro, and not the DuPage County Clerk or county board members. Gracias.
Thank you. I believe that concludes our public comment. Do we have any online commentary, Mr. Deputy Clerk? No? Okay. All right. Well, thank you, all those who participated in public comment. We move on to the next order of business entitled consent. Is there a motion? So moved and seconded? What? Oh, yes, we have to read them off. Okay. So I'm going to read each item below, and then we'll entertain a motion in a second, because we want to be completely transparent. So A is DuPage County Board regular meeting Tuesday, March 8, 2022. B is payment of claims 3/4/2022 pay list. C is wire transfers 3/4/2022 wire transfer. D, payment of claims 3/8/2022 pay list. E, payment of claims 3/11/2022 pay list. F, payment of claims 3/14/2022 auto debit pay list. G, payment of claims 3/15/2022 pay list. H, consent item county clerk report of receipts and disbursements February 2022. I, consent item recorder's monthly revenue statement February 2022. J, consent item treasurer's monthly report of investments and deposits February 2022. And K, consent item change orders to various contracts as specified in the attached packets. So now I'll entertain a motion. So moved and seconded. Mr. Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez. Covert. Desart. DeCiani. Eckhoff. Garcia. Hart. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog. Pachowski. Renahan. Rutledge. Schwarzy. Selman. Tornatore. Anze.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clerk. On to the order of County Board Member Ashley Selman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move on CBR 146-22, a resolution appointment of William Shrema as a member of ACDC for ETSB.
Been a motion. Is there a second? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Selman.
Aye.
Tornatore.
Aye.
Zay. Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez. Covert. Desart. DeCiani. Eckhoff. Garcia.
Aye.
Hart. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog. Pachowski. Renahan. Rutledge. And Schwarzy.
Thank you. Member Selman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move on CBR 147-22, a resolution appointment of Charles Bratcher to the West Chicago Fire Protection District.
Leave is granted. Member Selman?
Thank you. I move on CBR 148-22, a resolution appointment of Stephen Usdom to the West Chicago Fire Protection District.
Leave is granted. Member Selman?
Thank you. I move on CBR 149-22, a resolution, the appointment of Ruben Campos to the West Chicago Fire Protection District.
Leave is granted. Member Selman?
Lastly, I move on CBR 150-22, a resolution, appointment of Melissa Medeiros to the West Chicago Fire Protection District.
Leave is granted. Thank you, Member Selman. On to the order of finance. Member Chaplin.
Thank you, Chairman. By way of committee update, today on our finance agenda, you'll find a recommendation for approval for a contract to Ask Reply Inc., doing business as BG2 now for professional software services for the finance department. I'm very pleased to see this item on the agenda, as it will allow the county to track, document, and report on minority, women, and veteran-owned businesses performing work on departments' projects, either as contractors or subcontractors. This is something Member Renahan and others have been requesting for quite some time. The software will also allow the county to come in compliance with House Bill 453, in which taxing districts with property taxes levies of more than $5 million are to make a good faith effort to collect an I can't say the word today. All right. Why can't I say it? I just said it in finance. Electronically published data on whether it's vendors and subcontractors are minority-owned, women-owned, veteran-owned, or small businesses. I want to thank our staff, especially Anthony McPherson and Jeff Martinowitz, for their work on this. And I'd also like to thank our Inclusion and Diversity Committee for their work on this very important issue. So with that, I will move approval of FIR 012622, additional appropriation for the Neutral Site Custody Exchange Fund, accounting unit 1400 for $47,300.
Second.
And a motion and a second. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez. Covert. Desart. DeCiani. Eckhoff. Garcia. Hart. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog. Pachowski. Renahan. Rutledge. Schwarzy. Selman. Tornatori. And Zay.
Thank you. Thank you, Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move approval of FIR 013522, acceptance and appropriation of the PACE grant for countywide transportation projects, Company 1000 Accounting Unit 1750, for the period of January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2022, in the amount of $200,000.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move approval of FIR 013622, acceptance and appropriation of 48-year community grant development block grant, Company 5000 Accounting Unit, Community Services, $9,206,093.
Leave.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move approval of FIR 013722, acceptance and appropriation of the 31st Year Home Investment Partnership Grant, Accounting Unit 5000 Accounting Unit 1450, Community Services, $6,655,658.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move approval of FIR 013822, acceptance and appropriation of the 34th Year Emergency Solution Grant, Counting Unit 5000, 1470, $525,615.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move approval of FIR 014022, acceptance and appropriation of additional funding for the 47th Year Community Development Block Grant, Company 5000 Accounting Unit 1440, from $9,713,895 to $9,801,396, an increase of $87,501.
There's a request for leave. Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move approval of FIR 014322, acceptance and appropriation of the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, WIO, National Dislocated Worker Career Grant, $407,365.
Second most favorable rule.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move approval of FIR 014422, acceptance and appropriation of the additional funding and extension of time for the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, WIO, National Dislocated Worker Disaster Relief Grant Program, in the amount of $104,152.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move approval of FIR 014222, issuance of payments by DuPage County to training providers through the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, WIO National Dislocated Worker Career Grant, in the amount of $192,752.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move approval of FIR 015122, revision to personnel budget community service.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move approval of FIR 015222, intergovernmental agreement between the County of DuPage and the Village of Addison for the Addison Consolidated Dispatch Center to provide 211 services in the amount of $190,218.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move approval of FIR 015322, revision to the personnel budget community services.
Oh, sure. I'm sorry. Member Dessart.
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, just a little discussion on these two items. I agree that with all the ARPA funds and the CARES Act dollars that we need these extra workers, the information, and referral specialist, 2 of those for $36,000. And under the other item, the administrative assistant for $55,000 and the community services manager for $80,000. With all the money coming in and all the good work community service is doing, I agree that we need those people now. My concern is for those people after these funds are gone. We don't have anybody here from community services, but after those funds are gone, how will these positions be funded beyond 1 year and worked into the general budget for community services, or?
I'm on.
Oh, hi, Mary.
This is Mary. I'm on.
Hi, Mary. Thank you for answering that quick question. I forgot to ask about it in finance, though I did have it highlighted. So will these people be discharged after they're no longer needed, or will their salaries be rolled into your budget? Thank you for answering the question.
Yeah, the idea here is that we are expanding headcounts to accommodate for what we anticipate to be additional calls when we implement the 211 system. These positions will be funded with ARPA through the 2026 budget. During that time, we will also be assessing what the actual headcount need is to accommodate 211. And then as we move forward in 2027 and beyond, we'll either need to incorporate those into general fund positions, or we'll, of course, over the course of actually operating 211, we'll be looking for additional funding sources.
All right. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Member Dessart. A good question. So, Member Chaplin, where were we? We entertained a motion and a second. A request for leave. Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move approval on FIR 015522, authorization to transfer $27,444 in budget to the Information Technology Department for fiscal year 2022.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move approval of FIR 015622, budget transfers 3/22/2022 from various companies and accounting units.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I believe Member Covart would like to make some comments on this after I make the motion. So I move approval of FIP 009622, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Ask Reploy Inc., doing business as B2G Now for professional software service for the Finance Department for a contract total amount not to exceed $232,536.
You want to discuss it after we approve it?
Member Covart wanted to make some comments. I just
sure.
want to make sure she gets those.
Member Covart,
Thank
please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Member Chaplin. I just wanted to thank Member Chaplin, Member Ranahan, and everybody on this board and staff of supporting such a huge initiative today. When we passed this together, Mr. Chairman, I want to thank you for enthusiastically supporting my vision and the initiative that I took for the diversity inclusion imperative to be as one of our strategic goals. So I'm very grateful for the support. My vision for this was to tap into newer markets and to expand economic opportunities to minority communities and minority-owned businesses. And now that is underway, which is extremely exciting. I want to thank Anthony McPherson and our staff and everybody who's worked hard around the clock on this project. It is very important. My co-chair of Ad Hoc Diversity Commission is out sick today, but it has been a pleasure working with her together on this, along with Member Hart, who has also put in a lot of time and work to help us with this initiative on our committee. We're very pleased that this is moving forward. And the updates that I do have is that we hired a consultant to do an evidence-based disparity study. So, this committee will have more, the work that we're doing will have teeth. We also posted a job recently for the diversity inclusion officer recently. And now we are approving the software to facilitate our study and the work that we are doing. It will take about 12 to 18 months, but I am happy that this $232,000, $536 is being paid over 5 years through the ARPA funds. So I hope to see this continue. We're making great progress, and it really does take an entire board and staff, just everybody on board to do great things. So thank you, everyone.
Very nice. Congratulations. Thank you. Very nice. There's been a motion, a second, a request for leave. Leave is granted. There's one more item on the agenda.
Yes, thank you. And finally, I move to approve FIP 010522, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Tribune Publishing Company, LLC, for mandatory printing of election notices for the period May 1st, 2022 through April 30th, 2025 for the county clerk, for a contract total not to exceed $180,000.
So before we approve that, and I know we're going to approve it, it is an interesting issue you may want to consider for future county board business. For the life of me, $180,000 to print in the back of the newspaper in this day and age, with all due respect to the Tribune, I think this is a waste of money. So maybe you'll take it up down the road. But with that, there's been a motion and a second and a request for leave. Leave is granted. On to the next order of business, development. Member Sam Tornatore.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning. Move approval of DCO 19-22, ordinance zoning 22000003. Kids World to approve a conditional use for a planned development for a kids daycare center with an exception to reduce the west side setback, an exception to reduce the front yard setback, and an exception to reduce the front yard setback for a new company sign, and with an additional amendment as passed through Development Committee.
Been a motion and a second and a question. Member Garcia, followed by Member Ozog.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. That was on. Thank you, Chairman. I actually wanted to just say a couple words about this petition. They were denied at the zoning board, but all the information that they should have got in, they did get in there, and we did have it to review at the Development Committee. And they have they've actually addressed all of the stormwater issues and any of the traffic issues, because all the traffic will be coming out on Chicago Avenue. So I think some of the concerns of the neighborhood should have been kind of addressed at that point. And I'm just excited for the children who have been in a strip mall daycare to be actually in a daycare now that where they'll be having green space. And so I think that's going to be a win. So I'll be a definite yes on this. Thank you.
Okay, Member Ozog, followed by Member Covert, followed by Member Dessart.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I spent 6 years on the Glen Ellen Zoning Board, and I have to say this is one of the best presentations I've ever seen, in particular the traffic study, which seems to be the concern of the neighborhood. I think the traffic study proves that there will be virtually no impact on the neighboring subdivision. This is also a family-owned DuPage County business. This is exactly what we're looking for economic development. And obviously, I'm a mom of 4, long past daycare needs, but obviously we need daycare, and that's certainly a part of economic development. So I will definitely be in favor of this. Thank you.
Very nice. Member Covert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had initially voted no at committee, Development Committee. I do not see any objections from the neighbors, and after careful review of all the pertinent documents, my vote will be a yes for Kids World today.
Fabulous. Member Desart.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm thrilled to support a small family business, and I would be blessed to have my beautiful grandson Luke, who unfortunately lives out of the country, attend a place like Creative Children's Corner. This daycare values green spaces for the children in their care, as well as best practices. So to Creative Children's Corner, the children are the focus, as it should be. Post-pandemic, childcare has been a major challenge for employees heading back to work, and I find Creative Children's Corner an incredible resource for our community. I hear from parents all the time, including on this board floor, that childcare is a major challenge. Creative Children's Corner has been a thriving small business since 1994. These conscientious entrepreneurs and their engineers have mitigated the few major issues, the parking, the traffic study, and the stormwater concerns, and so I will be enthusiastically supporting this business. Thank you for being an invaluable resource for parents in DuPage County and for offering a safe haven for the parents and the children you serve.
Okay. Mr. Tornatore, you've made your motion. There's been a second. Roll call, please.
Tornatore.
Aye.
Zay.
Aye.
Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez. Covert.
Aye.
Desart.
Aye.
DeCiani. Eckhoff. Garcia. Hart. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog.
Aye.
Pachowski. Renahan.
Aye.
Rutledge.
Aye.
Schwarzy. And Selman.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Tornatore.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I move approval of DCO 20-22, ordinance zoning 22-00010, a recommendation by a zoning hearing officer to approve a variation to reduce the corner side setback.
Leave is granted. Thank you,
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. On to the Order of Economic Development. Member Chavez is not here, and we have Member Selman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move on EDCO 9-22, a recommendation for the approval of an amendment to the purchase order 2819-1 SERV for a contract issued to AT&T for the purchase of telecom services for the Workforce Development Division. It changes the contract end date to March 31st, 2023 for an increase in $3,000 for a total of $35,000, 9.38% increase.
Been a motion and a second. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Selman. Tornatore. Zay. Chaplin. Chavez. Covert. Desart. DeCiani. Eckhoff. Garcia.
Aye.
Hart. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog. Pachowski. Renahan. Rutledge.
Aye.
And Schwarzy.
Okay, thank you. On to the Order of Environmental. We have Member Rutledge for a committee update.
Thank you, Chairman. No resolutions that require a vote this morning, but I do want to thank Joy Hins for setting up a tour with eWorks, particularly with our vote on the disabilities earlier. Sorry, I don't have a better word for that. They do a wonderful job of giving those with developmental disabilities something to do and a path to employment. So thank you to eWorks. I also want to announce that I am going to invite the board to tour Scarce. She is just a wonderful resource for our community, and the amount of things that they save from landfills, I think, are a good lesson for all of us. It's pretty down to bread ties. I mean, it's amazing what she saves from our landfills. So on April 27th at 10 a.m., I'll invite all of my county board members and any of the employees or anybody else that would like to join us for that tour of Scarce, so that Kay McKean and her crew can give us ideas on what we can save from our landfills and how to reuse items that most of us think about throwing away. So thank you very much.
And April 27th, the timing's good to coincide with spring cleanup.
Exactly.
So all those textbooks that your kids have left in your basement and all the clothing items and, just stuff that is good stuff.
We
but
can all have a lesson
can bring
in
it
that.
over there. So that's what I've done in the past.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Member Rutledge. On to Human Services, Health and Human Services. Member Renahan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A couple items of good news. The Care Center continues to be COVID-free, and plans are underway for modified return for residents to have dining in the main dining area and to resume group activities. Masks are still required for everyone and visitors in the resident care areas. So kudos to the staff and the residents for keeping everyone safe. And also the first meeting happened for the DuPage Community Transformation Partnership that this county board allocated 10 point something $million for the DuPage Foundation. They sponsored their first info session last week for nonprofits to learn about the grants and applications. So I move on HHSR 13922, resolution recommendation for approval of contract to Yami Vending for managed beverage and snack vending for the campus, April 1st, 2022 through March 31st, 2023. This pays DuPage Care Center 24% profit and $5,000 payment for year 3.
It's been a motion and a second. Mr. Deputy Clerk, please call the roll. Renahan.
Aye.
Rutledge.
Aye.
Schwarzy. Selman. Tornatore. Zay. Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez. Covert. Desart. DeCiani. Eckhoff. Garcia.
Aye.
Hart. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog. And Pachowski. Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Member Renahan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to combine items 13B, C, and D. These are all authorizations for overnight travel.
There's been a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The items are combined. Please proceed.
I move to approve 13B, the intake and referral administrator to go to the Illinois Association of Community Action Agencies in Springfield, May 1st to the 3rd, 2022, $1,057. 13C, Community Services Manager to attend mandatory regional Ombudsman quarterly meeting in Springfield, April 20th to the 21st, 2022, $360. And 13D, Weatherization Coordinator to attend 2022 National Home Performance Conference in Nashville, Tennessee, April 10th through the 14th, 2022, $3,200.
There's been a motion and a second. Leave is granted. Member Renahan.
All right, great, thank you. Moving on to Judicial and Public Safety. By way of committee update.
I'm sorry. Yes, that concludes the business of the Health and Human Services Committee. We move on to the next order of business entitled Judicial Public Safety. Member Renahan, forgive me.
All right, thank you very much, Chairman. I'd just like to thank Craig Diekman and Office of Homeland and Security Emergency Management for an excellent presentation last week at JPS. We talked about election security, including disinformation campaigns and cybersecurities. And I'd just like to thank them for all they do 24/7, 365 days a year to keeping vigilant to keep the county safe. So with that, I'll move to combine items 14, A, B, C, and D. These are all intergovernmental agreements for the sheriff or police services with townships.
Been a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The items are combined. Please proceed, Member Renahan.
All right, great. Thank you. And these are all dated April 1st, 2022 through March 31st, 2023. I was going to finish saying. I move approval of JPSR 12722 is an IGA with York Township, $130,678.63. JPSR 12822 resolution agreement with Wayne Township, $130,678.63. JPSR 12922 IGA with Bloomingdale Township, $130,678.63. And JPSR 13022 IGA with Milton Township, $392,035.90.
There's a motion and a second. Is there a request for leave? Leave is granted. Member Renahan. Sorry, I've been distracted up here. So there's been a motion and a second on those combined items. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Renahan.
Aye.
Rutledge.
Aye.
Schwarzy. Selman. Tornatore. Zay. Chaplin. Chavez. Covert. Desart. DeCiani. Eckhoff. Garcia. Hart. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog. And Pachowski.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Member Renahan.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move approval of JPSP 92-22 contract purchase order to Flock Safety for hardware, software, 35 cameras to facilitate automatic license plate detection throughout the county, March 22nd, 2022 through March 21st, 2025, not to exceed $262,500 for the Sheriff's Office.
Leave is granted. Member Renahan.
Thank you. I move approval of JPSP 9322, contract to Trinity Services Group for inmate and officer meals for the jail, May 1st, 2022 through April 30th, 2023, not to exceed $584,182.50.
Leave is granted. Member
Thank you.
Renahan.
And finally, I move approval of change order, recommendation for approval of amendment to JPS Resolution P-0010-20, change order amending purchase order 4319-0001 for a contract issued to Ally Universal Security Services to provide security for the Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Management. This is increasing the contract $75,819.85.
Leave is granted. Thank you, Member Renahan. A fine report. On to the order of legislative. Member Dessart for a committee update.
Thank you, Chairman. Right after this meeting, the Legislative Committee will also meet to discuss safe gun storage. More than 4.5 million minors in the U.S. live in homes with at least one unsecured firearm, and on average, 8 children are killed or injured by these unsecured guns every single day in America. Personally, I've been around guns all my life. I think I killed my first tin can when I was 6 or 7. My dad and my brothers are avid hunters, members of the NRA and Ducks Unlimited. But my dad always had a gun safe, and to this day, I don't know where he hides the key. So today in Legislative Committee, we'll discuss HB 4729, an Illinois House bill seeking a safe gun storage public awareness campaign, which is a 2-year campaign. Also, Dave Sullivan, our Springfield lobbyist, will zoom in to discuss the tax levy. Will the General Assembly freeze the CPI of the sales tax on gas? HB 5690, the hotel motel grant bill. Medicaid funding for nursing homes. The local government distributed fund, LGDF. The Safety Act trailer bills, possibly on carjacking and retail theft. So everybody, not just the committee, but everybody is welcome to come, attend the meeting, and to ask questions about these important issues. Thank you, Chairman.
Sounds good. Fine report. On to the order of Public Works. Member Ozog.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move for approval of FMR 014122 resolution, correction of a Scribner's error in resolution FMP 088122 for White Construction Services to correct the ARPA accounting unit.
It's been a motion and a second. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Ozog.
Yes.
Kachowski. Renahan. Rutledge. Schwarzy. Selman. Tornatore. Zay. Chaplin. Chavez. Covert. Dessart.
Aye.
DeCiani. Eckhoff. Garcia.
Aye.
Hart. Krajewski. And LaPlante.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Member Ozog.
Thank you. I'd like to move to combine the next 4 items, which are all contracts needed for facilities management.
The next, how many items? I'm sorry, I missed
4,
that. 4.
items B through E.
B through E. There's a motion to combine items B through E, seconded by Member Chaplin. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The items are combined. Please proceed.
Thank you. I'd like to move for approval of FMP 010122, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Hill Mechanical Corporation to provide and install a domestic water heater at the power plant that serves the DuPage County Care Center for facilities management for the period March 23rd, 2022 through November 30th, 2022. Contract total not to exceed $134,385.55 per lowest responsible bid. I'd like to move for approval of FMP 010222, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Gerke Technology Group to furnish and deliver water treatment chemicals as needed for campus facilities for facilities management for the period March 23, 2022 through March 22, 2023 for a contract total amount not to exceed $35,000 per lowest responsible bid. I'd like to move for approval of item D, FMP 010322, recommendation for the approval of contract to Door Systems ASSA Abloy US Incorporated for preventative maintenance and repair service for automatic and manual doors with threshold closers as needed for county facilities for facilities management for a 2-year period, April 1st, 2022 through March 31st, 2024 for a total contract amount not to exceed $60,780 per lowest responsible bid. And finally, I'd like to move for approval of FMP 010422,
Recommendation for the approval of a contract to Eola Power LLC to provide uninterrupted power supply, UPS, preventative maintenance, and on-call emergency repair services needed for facilities management and the Emergency Telephone System Board for the period April 1st, 2022 through March 31st, 2023 for a total contract amount not to exceed $35,655 per renewal option under bid award 19-2 FM, third and final option to renew.
Leave is granted.
Thank you.
Thank you, Member Ozog. On to the order of transportation, Member Pachalski.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. I move to approve DTR 0070-22, a resolution for a comprehensive road improvement plan adoption for impact fees in connection with amending the county's fair share road improvement impact fee ordinance ODT-021S-89.
Then a motion and a second. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Pachowski. Aye. Renahan. Aye. Rutledge. Aye. Schwarzy. Aye. Selman. Aye. Tornatori.
Aye.
Zay. Aye. Chaplin. Aye. Chavez. Covert. Aye. Desart. Aye. DeCiani. Aye. Eckhoff. Aye. Garcia. Aye. Hart. Aye. Krajewski. LaPlante. Aye. And Ozog.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Pachalski.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to combine agenda items B, C, D, and E, as these are all awarding resolutions.
Second.
Been a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd move to approve DTR 0131-22, an awarding resolution, Geneva Construction Company for the DuPage County Fairgrounds parking lot improvements for estimated county cost of $142,960.14. Move to approve DTR 0132-22, an awarding resolution, Seabird Landscaping for the 2022-2023 various highway landscape program for an estimated county cost of $293,675. Move to approve DTR 0133-22, an awarding resolution, Seabird Landscaping for the 2022-2023 highway vegetative maintenance program for an estimated county cost of $295,497.70, and move to approve DTR 0134-22, an awarding resolution of Superior Road striping for the 2022 pavement marking maintenance program for an estimated county cost of $496,982.36.
Question, Member Chaplin? So I would like to recognize that rather clever maneuver you have awarding under one reason to combine. So I've just consulted with our legal counsel. Yeah, it's okay. So there's been a motion and a second. There's a request for leave. Leave is granted.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move to approve DTP 0094-22, recommendation for approval of contract to Christopher Burke Engineering for Phase 1 engineering services for the improvements along the East Branch, DuPage County River Trail from St. Charles Road to Illinois Prairie Path for a contract not to exceed $206,509.91.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Member Ozog.
I'd like to make a comment about this item.
Sure.
This item is in District 4, but as the speakers pointed out today, this is going to serve everybody. And I had a conversation with Mrs. Wheeler earlier this week, and she pointed out that if we can figure out how to put a man on the moon, we can figure out how to bring the trail underneath the Chicago, or well, I almost said Chicago and Northwestern, the Union Pacific Railroad, which is the issue to try to join the two trails together. But I'm very excited to see this. This has been talked about for almost 20 years, and I think it'll just be a wonderful thing for the county at large. So I'm really excited to be supporting this. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Where were we? We have a motion and a second. Request for leave. Leave is granted. Member Pachalski.
Mr. Chair, move to approve DTCO 0010-22, amendment to purchase order 5227 issued to Precise NRM LLC for fleet tracking equipment and service agreement for the Division of Transportation to increase the funding $5,000 and an amended contract of $29,000.
An increase of 20.83%.
That's true.
Leave is granted. Member Pachalski.
Mr. Chairman, move to approve change order DTR 0138-819, amendment to a resolution issued to Mead Inc. for the traffic signal street light program to decrease the funding amount of $145,427.86 and close in a final county cost of $2,950,231.79, a decrease of 4.69%.
Leave is granted. Member Pachalski.
And finally, Mr. Chairman, move to approve change order DTR 01718-21, amendment to a resolution issued to Precision Pavement Marking Inc. for the 2021 pavement marking paint maintenance program to decrease the funding, $37,130.40, and closed in a final county cost of $394,760.60, a decrease of 8.80%.
Is there a request for leave? Leave is granted. Okay, thank you. That's a fine report, Member Pachalski. That concludes all our committee reports. We move on to the next order of business entitled Old Business. Old Business. There we have Member Covert, followed by Member Schwarzy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I forgot to mention this 2 weeks ago under old business or new business, wherever it would belong, but I just wanted to recognize two people. I wanted to thank Member Chaplin for her support and solidarity with Ukraine and coordinating the colors that we had with the yellow and blue. That was really nice, and I also appreciate all her efforts of Women's Day and breast cancer awareness, and also Member Hart, who brought in the pastor from the Ukrainian church and presenting the proclamation. I thought that was really nice to do, and I feel like we should give credit where credit's due and encourage
Very
our county
nice.
board members.
A lot of love today. That's nice. Very nice. Who else? Member Schwarzy.
Thank you, sir. Just in response to recognizing Glenbard West's basketball team today, I only got to see one game, and it happened to be their loss.
Oh, for Pete, we shouldn't have gone. Now I know why.
But, yes, I know.
Makes
right?
sense to me.
All my fault. All my fault.
Oh, for crap.
But even in their loss, well, I want to share this because
Holy cow! Remember that, Jim Zay. He's the guy at the one game where they lost. That's an important point.
But I think this is worth saying because even in their loss, they were extremely, extremely impressive. Their loss occurred somewhere in the middle of the season, and it was televised on national television on ESPN, and they played Sierra Canyon, who I think at the time Glenbard North was ranked 10th in the nation.
West.
Sierra, I'm sorry, what'd I say?
North.
I'm sorry.
Lindbergh North.
Carol's streaming me.
Get a copy of his remarks, would you say?
I'm digging, but their loss came to Sierra Canyon, who happened to be ranked 13th in the nation out of California, and it came on a last-second, game-ending three-pointer, and that team had LeBron James' son on it. So I just wanted to point that out, that even their one loss was quite impressive for an impressive season. So thank you.
Very good, thank you. I feel better about our recognition of Glenbard West today now that you put it in that perspective. I mean, Jesus. All right. Where are we? Anyone else seeking recognition on the order of old business? All right, Mr. DeCiani.
Yes, I do want to thank Joan and the sheriff and Judge Earl for putting the guardianship program together. I think it's a great thing. I also wanted to thank the many members of this board back in 2019 from the chairman's direction with staff. We almost had a change in our rulemaking, which Chairwoman Sheila Rutledge and I worked out, which would have really impacted people with developmental disabilities. We were going to basically take a lot of our federal dollars and give it to larger facilities with multiple units, which would have favored groups like Haymarket, which is ironically coming up at that very same time. So this body stepped up and made those changes, and I appreciate Sheila, you working with me on that, because in light of Developmental Disability Month, this would have drastically hurt the funding for those in DuPage County. And lastly, people's voting records matter, and probably the biggest biggest developmental disability we have in our country, 1 in 44 kids, is autism. And the number one priority for the Autism Task Force, which I today chair, but it was developed in 2005 by Minority Leader Daniels, and many people, Chairman Cronin was on that as well, recommended insurance coverage. And I didn't even know that this group existed, but I knew that there was a problem, and when my daughter was diagnosed, this was, to me, the number one priority that I could try to fix. Coming from a dad who was a State Farm agent and a father who challenged me before he passed away to right this wrong, we lost 5 bills that year in Springfield before we got the 6th one passed. And I have the roll call from the Senate vote, which I wanted to pass out to the members so you can actually see who voted and who didn't vote, and who voted yes and who voted no. But it's important that people realize that, Member Chaplin, would you mind passing this out? People's votes matter, and again, Speaker Madigan.
You'd have to learn the context of all of it and how the issues developed. Pete,
real quick, Mr. Chairman, I'm not done yet. Speaker Madigan killed this bill 5 times. It literally got thrown out of his office 2 days before this bill was reintroduced. And you know, it was a hard work to get this done. And when you're in veto session, you need a supermajority to get this bill passed. And every vote counted, and it was important that we had every vote. So I just wanted to point that out, because some people say they're passionate about things, and they really back it up, and other people don't. So thank you.
Okay, I'm sure. All right, anything further? Anything further? Doesn't even really need to be responded to give it any more attention than it has already gotten. Anything further on the order of old business? Seeing none, hearing none, we move on to the order of new business. Member Dessart.
New business, fresh business, moving
looking
forward. Thank you. Yeah, Chairman, I would like this board to consider adding a committee, an affordable housing committee. I know that just over a year ago, Member Chaplin made the request of the chairman, and since then, nothing has happened to pursue this important initiative. Nothing. A whole year is lost. I sit on the DuPage Housing Authority Board of Commissioners, and we're a board, the DuPage Housing Authority, just so you're aware. We don't own a building like Chicago Housing Authority. What we do is we give families vouchers. And the reason this popped back into my head is because in our board packet for this past Thursday's meeting was a listing of maximum voucher allowances by municipality. And so that's why I'm bringing this forth today. I know Member Chaplin brought it up a year ago, but I thought when I saw my board packet for the DHA for Thursday's meeting, I thought this is the maximum rent a family can receive help to pay. And I just wanted to show you, this is what was in my board packet. I'm looking at, Downers Grove for a 2-bedroom, and this is for heartbeats in a room. So for a 2-bedroom, you could have as many as 4 people, maybe 2 adults and 2 children, or 1 adult and 3 children, obviously. But for a 2-bedroom in Downers Grove, the amount of voucher is $1,400 a month. In Glen Ellen, it's $1,300 a month. In Naperville, and I'm only talking about, there's all these lists for studio, 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom. So I'm comparing apples to apples here by only mentioning 2 bedrooms. In Naperville, the maximum voucher is $1,300 a month. And I don't know anywhere in these municipalities where you can find an apartment, a 2-bedroom apartment for that price. So that's why I bring this forward again, because this was in my packet on Thursday. Sure. And, housing insecurity has been amplified due to the pandemic, and the need is so great. And there aren't enough sensible housing options for so many families in DuPage County. And I'd like our county leadership to roll up our sleeves and to tackle this need once and for all, not backing down because the work is difficult, but because it's the right thing to do. I bring this up because this was in my recent packet, and you can look at all of the board members. I can forward this to somebody, and you can send it to everybody. All of our municipalities are represented here. I'll just throw out one more. In Wheaton, can you find a 2-bedroom apartment for $1,400? I challenge you to. Yeah. So anyway, that's why I bring this forward. I'd love to see an affordable housing committee. Thank you, Chairman.
Yeah, it's a good idea and something that you probably take up for the next county board. So sounds like it has merit. Anyone else seeking recognition on the order of new business? Mr. DeCiani.
I wanted to give a shout out to York High School, who took 4th in state this past couple of weeks. The girls and the boys who play Special Olympics for the York Dukes did a great job. They ended up playing the #1 seed in their first game, so it was a tough first game, but they ended up winning state, which gave them an edge. And I was very proud of all the players that came out, the coaches, the teachers, the parents. It was a great thing to see. We were in the same boat as Glenbard West. Last year we went downstate. We actually probably even had a better team last year than we had this year. So to see these kids have the opportunity, especially with Bree being a senior, was awesome. And lastly, I want to give a shout out to my second alma mater, Elmhurst College. Member Zay and I are Blue Jays, and we bleed blue. He bled blue in high school and in college. I bled green in high school and blue in college at York and Elmhurst University, respectively. But first time ever, a team from CCIW made it to the Final Four, and the men worked their tails off. And we came up short in the final game, to be there and to watch the guys from DuPage County take second in the nation was terrific. So, and actually Bree was with me, so she got to really, be around the team and be around the coaches, and it was special. So, I want to give a shout out to the Blue Jays for second in the nation, representing our great county. Thank you.
Anything further on the order of new business? Seeing none, hearing none. We do not have anything on the order of executive session, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. There's been a motion and a second to adjourn this meeting to Tuesday, April 12th at 10 a.m. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Meeting adjourned.